Okay, pardon me. I know it's late here. I was making some posts in the last few days. I have connected Baja BC to Southeast Asian islands and Australia, as well as related the process to the separation of New Zealand and more. Just true, just pointing out like none of these things were connected before, now they are. Well, this led me, and I said this led me to consider if the dragon, which is called the Mid Pacific Mountains, this region, on this map, I know it was the only map I had available, at least on this page. On this group of tabs. I gotta get to bed. It was pretty exciting. I couldn't resist. Just being like, fuck it, record. This dragon here, which in my last few videos, I've been measuring. Basically, I took this, cut it out and put it over here, and it fits pretty well. It's the right distance, and I was like, like essentially, I was thinking the current's coming out here and then fanning out like this. But like, none of this is really existent yet at some period of the time, so it's like not doing that. So it's really like going more closer to the Rentia, which basically led me to just try to put it there. And so, as I've been talking about, as others have pointed to, as I am going to continue to point to, it appears like this time frame of what Baja BC says seems to be in the 100 to 85, or even a little before and a little after. Everything's in the little before and after. But that's like a focal point of the time frame is 100 to 85, especially like crescendoing maybe around 65 for some places, not everywhere. It seems like Baja BC, not so much. But New Zealand 85 million, Hawaiian Islands 82 million. So there's all these things going on simultaneous that are because the earth is expanding and it's exploding. So back to this, what I just made was from this, I basically made initially this post was just this. So I'm going to make, I'm just talking about I'm going to make, the thing with animations is it's hard to make them long without it not being too long. Like, it's very easy for it to be too long unless I make like a full-blown animation. Maybe I could make animations and then use them in a video. It's a little hard to do that, to time them. Maybe if I tried it, I don't know. Anyway, but before the Pacific opened, obviously this is just North America, but then just North America underneath. I just setting up for when I put the dragon's imprint in here and just be like, yeah, I know it's kind of ridiculous, but without going into too much detail, it really looks like the Madrid fault line is like in line with this like extension here. This extension right here, and other things that make the New Madrid more like faulty or seismic-y. And then this like nose thing is generally appearing to be in here somewhere. I kind of just placed it down here. I think it's dependent on the shape of the curves. I think the curves make me put it down there. This is with this layer. This is just the North America and Central America, and plus my dragon thing that I put over top it, and then essentially those going in there. Let's take this thing out of there. It's a little weird. It's a little, obviously I cut it. Let's get rid of this one. I tried to basically cut out the segments that were like not this color, pretty much. So like I even tried to cut out like the C-mount extensions like this and went around it like that to try to get a shape, but then that's just like the C-mount shape. It's not completely representative of everything that's going on there. What I have here. So this other one underneath is this map. It's a little tricky to like, you know, what's the thing and what isn't. You know, I just tried to take the blue like shape. I think I went across here, down this way, and then kind of just stopped around here. Although I should have went down here. Part of the issue is also it's a smaller globe, so like this goes like this way, like from down here-ish up over up, but then it like seems to go down this way when I overlay it, so it's got something like that going on, although maybe it's there, but it's also possible that it's just because of the smaller globe issue that just continuously is an issue because of plate tectonics being the predominant view when the Earth expanded. What can I say? It is what it is. Okay, so here's the animation. Let's watch the animation. Do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. There it is. Do-do-do. Let's get the best one. We don't want no Twitter megabyte file size limitation one. I know it's a little ridiculous, but essentially, like, it's interesting that I basically cut this shape. Because this is new. Once the, like, rapid expansion occurs, then it fills in space between. So this was really way over here, and it really fills in all this space. But before then, it's over there, and there's a boundary to this that's kind of here, and it starts to push out with relationship to this. But I basically, like, tried to go in this way, follow the curves, and follow, like, not this. Hawaii rolls out atop it, but this is forming after this current is able to start to fill in the region, whereas this boundary is basically formed over here. So that's when this fills in the region, it fills in where the boundary was formed. But then, like, this is part of it, and this is part of it. Then it goes up here to, like, around here, and then I just kind of went over and cut down across the Mariana Trench and down here, and went over this way and that way, and kind of just tried to make it like that. Okay, Just trying to precursor it because I know it's a little just like what to look at. It's just a bunch of like colors atop one. It's not very comprehensible. I get that in some ways, and it's hard to say when I just cut it, and you know, especially if I don't cut it well. Yeah, your outlines are like clearly not aligning. Like, oh, fuck. You know, I just what do you want from me? Like I've done a lot of really precision work to make sure I'm not just arbitrarily doing this. But so before I forget, really, I should probably stop here real soon. But before I forget, let me just go through. If someone found the actual theory of everything, how would they behave? How would they behave? Would they be like, found it? Or would they be like, I wonder if I found it? I don't, maybe I should be more humble about it. My apologies for being like, I found it when I found it. Okay, so these are those. Okay. And I know, guys. It's ironic in some ways. There's other layers of things going on that I'm totally disregarding, perhaps, and speaking in spite of. Maybe, I don't know. Because I don't know really that well, if at all. I'm only like subtly acquainted with them. Perhaps I look forward to being more acquainted with any alternatives that really, like, maybe get me in line if that's what needs to happen. I don't know. Because I am kind of an ass. And, you know. Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, let's continue on. This is it. The Pacific now makes sense, and holy crap, is it cool. Barry Meehan. I know, it's hilarious. The dude who can't even tell you what the words say. He's like, here's how things are, guys. However, like I was saying, that time frame that was seeming pretty important. 129 to 121. So this is occurring in the thereabouts of the time frame when we're starting to see a lot of like things going on in this region. So that's a good beginning of its formation. Like it's not too soon where it's like, because had it been like 300 million, then it would have needed like a source pressure, effectively. Because essentially what I'm saying is it formed not just like out in the Pacific, but it physically formed adjacent here, and then it moved into the Pacific when the Pacific plate, this segment of cooled crust, broke away from North America with the rest of Australia and everything else, and physically separated while this current filled in the space here. And so it's over there, it formed over here. So in order to form over here, it really needs a pressure like pushing into it, kind of like the pressure that pushed Baja up to BC, Rangelia. I think I'm saying that right? The islands out of the Philippines and other islands in the Southeast Asian region and Papua New Guinea. And so, yeah. Anyway, and then 65 is really when, like, boom. Like I was saying. So, like, I have this volcanic activity continued through the remainder of the Cretaceous. And then it slid away and didn't have this active volcanism infusing on it because it wasn't anymore in this position over here at all. It was just over here cooling mostly, relatively speaking. So it really not being focused on, like over here is really just like, it must have been focused energy from the process that was really just radiating through here, over here, up here, up here, just like some counter current coming from a source that was effectively like the Galapagos hotspot and possibly Hawaii as a sphere Hawaii. That's right. I said it. I'll say it again. Sphere Hawaii. So that's what's going on here. Is that plate of, and it's probably not gonna work, huh? That Pacific region is just which is over here in this image. Of course, this is like not really accurate. I hope, like, there's just like when this moves, there's other nuances that are not being addressed in this image, which is partly why I don't really. I'm struggling to do this. I really need a complete like representation of like a full-blown movie of like the Earth expanding and producing many features. But so yeah, it fits back to this though. It fits pretty well. Interestingly, like where it spreads is actually seemingly at Florida, maybe. It starts to spread. Runs into resistance here, goes around it. And then I'm not sure what to make of up here. I just kind of cut it. That's what I was saying though. Like some regions of this, it's hard to say. This is not the right map to go by. Like I think this, I'd almost have to, I didn't bother to look at like this to see if there's it's hard to find precise maps of this. It's like good enough. I've never seen anything more precise. There's probably like local maps of this, but at that point it's probably mostly words more so than anything and not so easy to find. Like this is what I find looking at this, like if I say maybe Pacific, mid-Pacific. Heavy rain coming. I should get to going. Get to going. Yeah, like it's just a full-blown Earth. Data's a little rough, so it's hard to tell precisely what happened here. This maybe is a good indicator though. This was a bend. I ran into the current. I did not mean to start looking at this. Current coming this way from the mantle puncture hole. Runs into that current up here as the Earth like begins to open. And here it must have been like limited to here. Hawaii comes through and interacts, so maybe it wasn't even, like it was here, up here. Not sure. I would like to be able to, like, really precisely do this. That's the objective. The objective is not to just be a bullshit artist. I don't think that's what I'm doing. I mean, if science is truly bullshit, then I guess I'm like a master bullshit artist. That would be true then. If the route of science is bullshit, I'm a master bullshitter. What can I say? I'll admit it then. But then, you know, we're collectively admitting it, so it's not like it's on me. You know, we're all like, oh, we were all wrong on that one. Well, maybe not all. Sorry, people who saw through that. Let's see, right here. This is interesting because it's really aligning. I didn't really look at this closely. I just kind of put this boundary. And I noticed this shape kind of reflects this region of Western United States, like almost like it continues this arc. So maybe it was interacting in that kind of way where that arc has some relationship to the energy that was flowing in here. People like, this ain't no science. Science ain't bullshit, you're bullshit. You ain't looked at my work then, that's the truth. And if you have, if you like, sure I did. I glanced at it enough to realize you said things I disagreed with. Like, one of the most common ones, you referenced the Bible in your book. Yeah, chapter 7, and I was required to, and I was atheist growing up. Like, you don't know so many things. Like, there's assumptions going on where people, like, think they fucking know me. Pfft, noob. Anyway, sorry not to be like that. Like, that's just standard operating procedure, though. People get too fucking, they judge too quick. They don't know I'm on to some fire. Things like, look at that. You notice those little dots? It's like little, it's like a decay trail cutting across. And then it physically slides out from underneath the overlying crust and like a maybe just a lava flow. It's just like a lava flow where it has like the protruding, like the extending. But then the flow itself is not, it's not like coming out from an entire plane of lava. It's like in a region. So like what is flowing under that's leading to this film coming off is actually supported by like a larger, just rocky structure. So it's not like, it's basically like going around underneath North America, coming out from underneath it, as well as its support structure of its underlying crust, which doesn't slide away. But Mexico's underlying crust, like this underlying crust slid away. It just slid away. Like this was underneath this region. Slid away. opened up a gaping hole, I guess, as it slid away. Let's see where this current goes. I mean, it pretty much looks... We can see... Really... We can see this... The, like, angel wings with the trident. We can see it coming in down here. The trident part of it right here. So it's pointing up. It generally... Basically at Baja, BC, at Baja, California, en route to Baja, BC. This is probably in need of some bending to really make more, like, long-distant correlation sense. That's why I tried to make it on a bigger globe, so that if I took it from pictures from a decent angle, maybe it would overlay decently, and I think it did. But it's still not quite, like, it still needs to be on a smaller, actually, it needs to be on a smaller radius globe when they're interacting, so it's not appropriate. It just isn't. It just needs, like, the space empty, and just closed up on a smaller radius, and then suddenly, like, things start to come back like this. This means, though, that the Mariana Trench current, the current causing the Mariana Trench here, is really also going pretty head-on. I didn't realize how head-on this region it was going. I guess this current just begins to overwhelm, and push the boundary, push the boundary, push the boundary, push the boundary. And then once it pushes the boundary enough, it just shapes the region here. I don't know what the age of things are here. Underlyingly, like, did it really just slip away from here? My chances of being heard seem like they're slipping away. Truth hurts, don't it, huh? It's true. People don't care. Because they don't have to care. I was thinking about writing some papers for geology that really... Like, I could probably write some pretty persuasive geological papers if I took the time, but I don't want to do that. I got so many, like, even just to be like, look at the date of this. Like, like, for sure, people should acknowledge that, like, for instance, this paper on the non-random distribution of impact craters. It's not like a technical paper. It's written for, like, general audience, but, like, that's a technical skill to be able to, like, write this stuff for, like, and be, like, pretty good about it for a general audience. But, like, this, I mean, I got five references at the bottom. It's just got things like this, like, you know, no one's gonna listen to me, even though it's true. No one's gonna listen to me. I already said things that are too far gone from potential in anyone's mind for me to be heard. So I hear the actual evidence for it. It's as if, you know, like, I've been saying that all along, but really I discovered the theory of everything first. And then all this other stuff that just makes it all the more difficult to share, but true and hard not to, like, keep pursuing and just being like, oh, Hawaii's a sphere, guys. It really comes down to things like that. Like, Hawaii's a sphere. Earth got attacked by a vortex weapon. I found the theory of everything. Like, literally true statements. So what's the problem? People just don't know. That's the problem. That's the problem. Time to make some, I guess, Earth expansion might be underway soon. 51 million, 35, 35. These are pretty later. I was wondering if those would be closer to like 80, 100. They were not. I don't know what to make of it, and I just noted it. But this one's about craters that are on the coastline. Doesn't make sense, dudes. Simultaneous craters on the coastline repetitively. Too many times to be just random. It's because they're not random. Therefore, they're not impact craters. It's that simple, and that's simple. It would be one thing if they were like near each other at the end, but that they're near each other on the coastline. What are they doing at the coastline? Just they hit the coast too, not just simultaneously, but the coast. They fuck that coastline. You know, if there were like nova centers of almost like particles that are act as like, what's a good reference? Like a pillar of like a, I don't know what's a good reference. Let's see. Listen, gang. I've seen rocks that kind of have like actual, what's I gonna say? Oh yeah, comets. Yeah, pretty much like this. So imagine that here's a fault line, and along that fault line are particles within the boundary of it that are constituents of the system. And then those particles can have currents flow into them through the fault lines, the inlet channels, basically, that then can cause them to explode and other things. Crater. Alright, peace. I'm off to bed I go.